Hello, everyone. Today we are recording with Gina Doyle, Pedro Pombeiro, and myself, Miguel Rincon, deprecations and changes we have done to our APIs and to our UI in the runners area. And we are very happy to explain to our users what things are improving and how things are changing to make our runner statuses and filters better. So first, Gina will give us an introduction, and then Pedro will explain some more detailed changes in the APIs.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to share my screen and just walk through this epic, which does a good job of explaining the changes that we're making in the UI and where these really came about. So these came about because we had pretty inconsistent ways of showing runner status across the different views. So from the admin view to group view to project view, we were using different status names and they weren't always used in each area. We have a pretty good visual of that by this current status audit. So specifically, one of the most confusing ones was active versus online. And active, we were saying, is a status, and it's the definition is that it's ready to receive, the runner is ready to receive jobs. And then online, on the other hand, says that the runner is connected. And we were presenting both of those at the same time, and it was a little confusing with the play and pause button that we have as well. So I'm going to jump over to our current UI and just show what that looks like. So what I was referring to is the statuses that we were showing within this table were overlapping and inconsistent with the other views like our group and project view. And also we allow for you to filter by status. Right now, you're able to filter by active, paused, online, offline, never contacted, and stale. Stale is the newer filter that we enabled recently, and these other ones, active and pause, they're going to actually turn into one filter called paused rather than status, and then it will either be true or false. And the reason why we're doing this is because if a runner is active, we're actually displaying that by the pause and play button that's within the table, as well as when you go and look at a runner, it says if it's paused or played. So we wanted to make it more obvious and then make it more consistent throughout the other views. The other views that I was referring to is like this one, which is when you look at a runner detail from the group or project view, you get this view. And we're mixing active and the other statuses in this one view, so it gets a little confusing. So in general, we're going to be making those more consistent and applying those across all of the different views that we have. I'm going to pass it to Pedro now to talk more about the API and the other changes that we've made.
Thank you, Gina. Let me share my screen. So, yeah, we've made the respective changes in both the REST API and the GraphQL API to bring it up to date with respect to changing from active to paused nomenclature, and also removing or deprecating, in this case, those values from this status. So CI runner status in the case of the GraphQL API. These are the three values that will be leaving. So these are more like the actual status, not really configuration. The ones that were referring to configuration will be moved out in 16.0. So we already have introduced the newer properties for this. So you do have a paused property, which will completely replace those values in 16.0. So if we run this, which was the using the deprecated active value for status, if we run this, we get, as you can see, even though we're asking for active, we're getting different status values. So they are active, but at the same time they're not connected or they're offline. So it's a bit confusing. The newer way to write this would be, let's say, I don't know what's happening with my keyboard. Okay, so paused false would be the equivalent query. Okay, so it's less confused because you're not actually requesting a status, and so you do get the same status, but it's not as confusing. For the REST API, we've done the same. So you can ask for a flag, give me all the runners with the status equals active. And you received one with offline. And the newer way to do that is paused equals false. There you go. So we added this paused property and deprecated the other values to be removed in 16.0. Yeah, that's what I had for the REST API and the GraphQL APIs.
Right. Thank you. And we hope that this is helpful. And please leave comments for us in the links that we'll attach to the video if you have any feedback. Thanks.